after the revelation of William and Kate's latest luxury jaunt aboard a $500 million yacht, where they tried in vain to hide the fact that they were on their 5th or 6th secret vacation that we know about. Not to be outdone, there was Camilla, photographed by the paparazzi on a yacht owned by, I guess, her own dodgy Gulf billionaire with no Charles. And what exactly are we calling this monarchy? Because it looks more like a contest to see who can brown nose the sketchiest oligarch for the fanciest yacht perks. According to this article from Town and Country, the Queen was photographed off the coast of Greece on the super yacht Zenobia, valued at around $40 million. Zenobia is owned by Syrian-Saudi businessman Wafiq Saeed. The article goes on to mention that Saeed's wife is a prominent Conservative Party donor, that King Charles is meant to remain politically impartial in his role as head of state. Thus, Queen Camilla's trip has faced criticism in the UK. Members of the royal family really ought to consider the public perception of such episodes. They are representing the country at all times, and let's be honest, it's not as if they are short of cash. This is not a good look for Camilla, and it's interesting that this photo of her appearing on the deck of her own Greek island holiday came right after William and Kate's leaked Greek getaway. Could it possibly be payback? Or perhaps she's saying, I have sketchy billionaire friends with yachts too. It's hard to tell really, because something about this photo suggests she knows she's being photographed. And who knows with these people? They're constantly trying to one-up each other, always in some heady pissing contest, and not by doing anything consequential, just to see who can rack up the most likes and followers. And you'd think that at her grand old age, she'd be above all that clout chasing. But oh no, Camilla's right there with them. But the royals are no strangers to shady characters and dodgy business dealings. Prince Charles once accepted a briefcase full of cash from a member of the Bin Laden family. And who can forget Andrew and Fergie, whose ties to Epstein will forever stain the monarchy? Andrew has long had a history of cavorting with objectionable characters. There was a convicted Libyan gun smuggler, the Turkish scammer, who once made a £750,000 payment to Andrew, who later claimed it was a wedding present to Princess Beatrice. And of course, there are the reports of Andrew's recent involvement with a Chinese spy with direct communication lines to Xi Jinping. But really, folks, I'm not really sure what anyone expects. With Charles and William inheriting all the money, Andrew and the rest of the spares and their spouses have long held simmering resentments. They've had to forego any ambition, forever scrounging for cash, all for loyalty to the crown. So it's really hard to pinpoint who is leaking against whom in this family. And you really have to ask, why does a family with already so much money need to constantly be getting mixed up with shady people to try to get even more? Explain it to me like I'm 2 years old, please, because I really don't get it. This year, Charles is set to receive £132 million from the sovereign grant. This doesn't include his income from the Duchy of Lancaster and various other investments. William, of course, hit the jackpot in 2022 when he inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, which pays him at least £20 million a year, what we know about, because for the second year in a row, William has chosen not to disclose his taxes. By now we know that William had some sort of a meltdown when this photograph appeared in the press regarding the secret summit, where it was revealed that Charles may be making overtures to Harry, with a leaked photo suggesting that it may be a warning shot to William, who by numerous accounts is already behaving like he skipped the coronation. William, it seems, is still bruising from being left out of his father's attempts to reunite with Harry. It was reported in the Daily Beast that shortly after learning about the meeting, William was fuming. William's loathing for Harry runs deep. He absolutely fucking hates Harry. Asked about speculation that William would have supported the meeting, the friend told us this weekend, William will never ever forgive Harry for what he has done. Charles is the king. He can do what he likes. Now, folks, what the hell is he so mad about? And why does Harry need to be forgiven? Because he wrote a book exposing who William really is. A violent, entitled bully with an insatiable thirst for revenge. It certainly seems like there's something deeper going on here. Now, I think the rift between Charles and William all began with a big disappearance drama of last year. There's no doubt Charles and Camilla knew that something was rotten in Denmark. Kate, as you recall, was supposedly checked into the same London clinic as Charles. However, only Charles was seen leaving. Now, folks, if I keep harping on this over and over again, it's because the British press has a sneaky little habit of trying to rewrite history. So we have to remind the public time and time again what really went down. It's clear, at least to me, that the issues between father and son started festering during this time. Camilla was going around with, as we say here, a shit-eating grin on her face, as though she knew something, and she no doubt did. And I think that during this time, Charles was appalled by the behavior of William and Kate. I think their behavior really did a lot of damage to the credibility of the British monarchy. They were made laughingstocks the world over, and I think that since then, Charles knows that the monarchy, with William at the helm, won't last very long. Then there was the big cancer announcement. Now, folks, never once has any one of them made any public statement about Kate's so-called cancer. No message of love, no encouragement to the stricken future queen, nothing. But Charles has long since known about William's volatile and petulant nature. Ever since he was a young child, William often displayed signs of entitlement bordering on violence. According to biographer Robert Lacey, young William was dubbed Basher Wills or Billy the Basher by his classmates. He would shove his way to the front of lunch lines, hurl sandwiches when displeased, and often found himself in skirmishes that ended with a nanny having to drag him home. In Princess Diana's own words, William was a holy terror. He would often push the boundaries, sometimes with his father, seeing what he could get away with, and he got away with a lot. His parents knew very early on that they had a problem on their hands, but he was the heir, the chosen one, the little boy whose very existence meant that an entire institution, an entire country would someday be under his rule. William is the natural consequence of a system designed to cultivate entitlement, mediocrity, and failing upwards. He carried through this behavior into adulthood with a volatile mix of toxic narcissism fueled with alcoholic rage. To those who intimately knew William, they saw a side of him shielded from the public. It's no wonder he was rejected by so many women in his social circle. No one knows this more than Kate. With all the machinations of her mother behind the scenes to bag a prince, I believe that Kate was genuinely in love with William. But Kate has counted more times than she cares to remember when she was on the receiving end of his outbursts. She's lived it. She may even have tried to escape. But Kate isn't blameless in this. She is still willing to play along if it means securing the ultimate prize, even if it's at the expense of her own sanity. Now, one thing is certain, Camilla knows that her own days are numbered. It was reported that William and his trusty sidekick, Jason Nauf, plan to completely overhaul the monarchy, which for William means not actually helping struggling Britons by alleviating poverty, but by stripping everyone he hates of their titles. A real problem solver, that William. And in what seems to be an attempt to circumvent his son's authority after his death, Charles appointed Camilla Vice Admiral of the UK. This is no doubt an insurance policy for her place in society after after he's gone, because Charles is well aware that after he dies, William will show no mercy to his wife. Camilla, seeing the writing on the wall, is now suddenly softening her own stance towards Harry. In a report that emerged a few weeks ago, Camilla sees that William is trying to create issues and urged Charles to put a stop to his interference. But there's very little Charles can actually do. William and Kate have fully gone rogue. It was reported that they intend to skip out on yet another consequential royal engagement, VJ Day, the day meant to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the Allied victory over Japan. And folks, this is the typical sort of event you would expect to see the highest ranking royals, but not the heir and the future consort. Apparently, commemorating the end of global war isn't quite enough to lure William and Kate out from under their summer fog of Norfolk, Mustique, or Kefalonia, or wherever they're hiding this week. Now, it's pretty evident that in recent weeks, there has been a flurry of leaks about and between various members of the family. In a report from the Mirror, it was revealed by Ian Pelham Turner, a former royal photographer, that there's something going on with William. William is being aggressive with staff and insistent on being called sir. He's hearing that William's employees are complaining about the Prince of Wales. It's coming out that his staff find him at times very aggressive. And I know one of his many supporters for his housing charity, and this guy is a volunteer, and he was telling me that William is constantly on to him all day, all night, saying, "How much money have we made? How much money have we made?" Now, I don't know which royal insider Pelham Turner may have let slip this bit of info about William. Could be Camilla. It may even be Anne. Weeks ago, it was reported that Anne thought William and Kate were too lazy. Again, coming from the same source, Ian Pelham Turner, William annoys his aunt when it comes to their shared royal duty. Several unnamed sources close to the princess claim that she would like to see the father of three do more bread and butter royal engagements. The outlet pointed out that only King Charles as well as Anne and William do investitures, and many of them take place at Windsor Castle near William's home, or one of William's homes. She's still doing most of the investitures, even though William lives nearby, a source close to Anne claimed. It annoys her. Well, shortly after this report, something curious popped up on none other than the royal family official website. In a tribute to the Princess Royal's 75th birthday, Buckingham Palace decided it would be a good idea to create a list of 75 facts about Anne, among them the startling revelation that Anne's husband, Timothy Lawrence, has 2 secret children. Readers were, of course, confused, to say the least, with some blaming AI. The list was then quietly deleted, but it was too late. The damage was already done, and the internet was buzzing. But folks, this just reeks. Now, my first thought was that this must be retaliation for the report a few days before about William being work shy. These people are a mess. Now, it would be funny until you recall what happened last year when Anne was mysteriously found passed out with a concussion, which they conveniently blamed on the horse. And of course, there were no witnesses. Who would have their digital fingerprints all over this? Perhaps William's trusty steed, who seems to be willing to go to great lengths to protect his boss. Kate is once again in the news. This time she finally released the summer portion of her season's video, a highly produced cinematic royal propaganda showpiece, and the responses from the viewers are about what we've come to expect. Now, what exactly is the point of these videos?
Attitudes. And you watch it, it's like watching an advert for antidepressants or something. It's just not what I think we need to hear from our royal family. We don't need to be lectured about it.
It's not a lecture, is it?
It's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another and of Mother Nature. Never been more important. Why never been more important? Was it not important before to value one another? No, it's just sort of rubbish. And, I think Prince of Wales is a very admirable figure, and, commend her on overcoming cancer, obviously had a very difficult time, and so on. And I appreciate that she is very popular. But, videos like that are just crap. And we should...
Language.
It's not a rude word, is it?
I don't think we can say it on air.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Apologies if you're offended.
I'm very sorry. Well, a lot of people will be offended by me thinking that, but I do find, if Meghan did it, everybody would say, what a load of utter gibberish.
Yes, they would.
And I don't think we should have different standards because it happens to be someone else, particularly the Princess of Wales.
Do you think it's because she's been through so much and, she's just been battling cancer? She said that nature was a really important part of her recovery and being out in nature.
Well, that's good. But I don't think, that's what the royal family's for, is to give us videos about, how we should appreciate nature. I didn't even keep
Freddie, you're such a cynic. Such a killjoy.
Aren't there some needy causes to highlight? Perhaps one of her many forgotten patronages? Breaking news, the press will claim that Kate interrupted her vacation. To do what now? Oh, to show us some knickknacks she selected from a museum visit.
Basically, it's a lot of old rubbish that they've got no room for in the museum, and this is the stuff that they have in their warehouses and whatever, and they're saying, look, you think you haven't got enough junk? Here's more junk that you can go and have a look at, and people go, oh, that's the best looking junk I've ever seen.
I'd argue it's not junk, it's treasure.
Well, as well.
There's a Picasso
what's
there.
One man's junk's another man's treasure,
That's
I suppose.
What they say, that's what they say.
That's the difference.
That would have been a dream trip for her because she just loves photography, doesn't she? She studied history of art, so she wouldn't see it as junk at all.
William and Kate are a disaster. And not only the firm, but the public is now onto them. In a report that dropped late in the day, William and Kate are once again moving to another forever home, this time Forest Lodge, where William decided to make homeless two families already living near the compound to make way for their, seventh home? I've lost count. If you recall last week, they were supposedly moving to Fort Belvedere. And folks, it must be nice having so many homes to choose from while claiming to fight homelessness in between jetting off from one vacation to another, all from funds you've never had to lift a finger to earn. Yet the monarchist and British press tells us that they deserve this money, while across the pond, Harry and Meghan, private citizens, are ridiculed for their business ventures. It was revealed last week that a leaked private WhatsApp message group between William, Kate, and others reportedly referred to the Duchess of Sussex's latest business venture as if it will take off. A source said it's caused quite a bit of laughter within the group. WhatsApp messages have been going back and forth. The nerve of these people. Here's William and Kate, paid millions by the taxpayers, and yes, I will repeat, the taxpayers, for all you monarchy apologists out there, because William and Kate do not work. They can't even be bothered to show up for a couple of hours for an engagement honoring the lives of British servicemen and women whose calendar seems to revolve around the holiday high season of various countries, whose private lives are so messy that at one point the entire world feared the worst. These people actually have the unmitigated gall to mock someone making an honest living. Their desire to see the Sussexes fail only highlights their own shortcomings. This is weaponized mediocrity held up by dodgy polls and insipid puff pieces. This week, another YouGov poll appeared declaring William once again the winner. According to the report, Princess Kate and Prince William have been handed a massive boost. As it was revealed, they remain by far the most popular royals in Britain. The news came at the expense of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who found themselves languishing near the bottom of a new favorability poll. Goes on to say, 1/3 of people aged 18 and 24 had a positive view of Harry, compared to only 17% of those over 65. Folks, this last line tells tells you all you need to know about who is being polled. Take a narrow sampling of the population already predisposed to being favorable toward the monarchy, and voila, we're number one. And it's funny because the report also shows Anne looking skeptical. It sounds more like a pledge of loyalty to the dear leader. This is a reflection of William's mind. He wants blind loyalty, absolute fealty, and complete adoration. There isn't a bit of nuance here. It's like a cry for attention. And I think it actually shows that he is not all that bright of a person. And I think that bothers him, that he thinks commissioning some highly skewed poll will convince the public that he is everything he would like you to think of him. With his control of the press, they can work out with algorithmic certainty where William always ends up being on top, beating even Kate, which despite her issues, I believe is actually more popular than William, Charles, and Camilla. They can't shake her off of them because the public would not like that, which leads me to think that her cancer announcement was her own little insurance policy. But there is one thing their supporters all seem to have in common, and that is that their support of the monarchy is motivated by their inverse hatred of Harry and Meghan. In other words, if Harry and Meghan were not in the picture, the public would pay no attention to them. I think the firm realizes that by using the press to activate the hatred of the public, making Harry and Meghan into supervillains, then they will remain relevant. Because without Harry and Meghan, most people simply don't care. They are boring, uninspiring, and unremarkable people. The public knows this. Their quote-unquote support is really just triggered from their operant conditioning to hate Harry and his wife. It's obvious what's going on here. Clear psychological manipulation on a mass scale. Just take a look at the headlines about Harry and Meghan on any given day. Harry and Meghan lose as Prince and Princess of Wales win. Most people are not even going to bother to click on the story, and good for them because the story is complete nonsense. Now let's take a look. Harry and Meghan lose it because why now? Oh yes, because of Sentabale, of course. The Sentabale drama. Harry gets cleared. It doesn't matter. He's still a loser. Now let's see what makes William and Kate the winners according to this. Oh, that's right. Back to this nonsense nothing burger of a poll. It's like they're amateurish, but they're ingenious at the same time because they know that people only read the headlines. Very few people are going to click and waste their time reading this foolishness. They know most people just drive by to get their news. But I find the timing of these polls very interesting. Whenever it is reported that the Sussexes have inked another deal or sold out their products, suddenly we are reminded that they're not really that popular at all. The level of insecurity with these two is something that needs to be studied. Their titles have ensured them that they never have to put out any real effort, but at the same time, they don't want anyone else stealing the spotlight. They've gotten so used to phoning it in that the rest of the family has had it with them. This is a raging dumpster fire of a public relations war going on between the Windsors, with Harry and Meghan somewhere always off to the periphery, ready to be summoned whenever the firm needs a distraction or a villain to deflect from their own rot. They are the convenient foil in a monarchy that's rotting from the inside, held together by headlines, entitlement, skewed polls, and the desperate hope that the public won't notice the smoke billowing from behind the palace gates. But the public is noticing, and the question now isn't if the crown will fall, but who'll be left standing when it does. Now listen folks, I know some of you are out here lurking, watching the videos and not subscribing. Please subscribe, even if you're hate watching. You know you love the drama. Subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and of course leave your comments, and I'll try to be a little bit more frequent. Like I said, maybe put out shorter videos because they really do take a long time to edit. Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. Leave a thumbs up, and I'll catch you all in the next video.